Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the Ohio State Esports Twitch channel. My name is Kenneth, and I am joined by Rylan. Rylan, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing all right, hanging in there. Still got a little bit of homework, so hopefully that this wraps up pretty soon. But in any event, hope y'all are. We're excited to be back here for another week of the PlayVS Open Collegiate League. It is week 5. And we're coming down to the wire here, Rylan. Only 3 weeks left in league play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the team that we're playing here, Toledo, we have tied records right now. We're both in 59th place, same records. Toledo actually recently just came off of 2 losses in a row, and our schedule has been a little bit mixed with our results. But other than that, it should be a really close match and really entertaining.
Yeah, and even looking ahead to the next match against the Northwood White squad, I believe that squad is also at 5-3. So, as we start looking towards later and later in the season, where you're going to start to want to make the push for playoffs here, things are going to start coming down to the wire quite a bit. I believe we might be just out of it for now, but pretty soon here, some teams are going to have to start winning out to make those jumps up towards the top.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think tonight's game is just definitely going to be crucial for Ohio State. It's going to be really, really important to see how they play. And, casting earlier this season, we saw a little bit of mistakes early on, a lot of miscalculations for some of the players, but we've seen them improve slowly, and they've gotten a little bit of their confidence, and hope that's, translated into tonight's back-to-back games.
And hey, improvement's the name of the game, right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's going to be all about building up on 1 week after the next and just going on from there in terms of, building up. And that's a large part of what collegiate esports is all about, right? It's about improvement. It's about working together as a team better and better over the course of the entire season, whether that season be, both fall and spring or one of the 2 semesters. But, as you mentioned, obviously, we've got a handful of weeks already under our belt. So how has this team kind of fared overall so far? Are we on kind of a hot streak, dry spell? How are we feeling right now?
Right now, past 4 games, bit of mixed results. I think loss, win, a little bit shaky here and there. But other than that, the games that I've casted, our team has done a very, very good job. I think none of the games have been absolute blowouts or anything, maybe for us. But I think over time, the biggest thing that we've seen is unity, really, really improvement in our team, getting the ball, passing the ball, maybe rotating more properly. At first, it was really rocky, but I think we kind of snapped into it, and we got a hold of ourselves, which is good. But all the games so far this season between both sides have been really entertaining, really close matches, and it's been really fun to cast, honestly.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I haven't gotten to watch a lot of the PlayVS League so far, so I'm excited to really dig into things here. But yeah, the handful of matches that I saw, might be a little bit more rocky towards the start. But again, like we mentioned, going to be all about improving as we go further and further along in the season. These teams really start to ramp up and really find their true forms with one another. We're at about the halfway point overall in the season. 3 weeks left of play out of 7 total. So still plenty of time for these teams to make moves, to go on ahead and hop right into it. First match tonight is the University of Toledo versus Ohio State. And looks like we're not seeing a ton of shenanigans off of the kickoff.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see the lineup here that they got rolling with. It's probably the same lineup: Perk Dog, and then Stu, and then I can't see the other one, but yeah, like you said, no shenanigans right off the start. We're already seeing some passing play. A little mistake there, almost led to a goal.
Yeah, just, not quite quick enough there, but I'm sure they'll be able to bounce back. A lot of those passing plays are actually surprisingly difficult to really set up in their entirety. So, of course, we'll be looking as these teams start to warm up just a little bit more, start to get used to their competitive nature. There's another one, Stu, can't quite seem to find the connection there, but really like what I'm seeing so far early on from the Ohio State squad in regards to those passing plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been very back and forth right now. Little mistake there, but it was a good clearance there by Park Dog.
Yeah, very nice. Overall, able to send that one away and kind of scrounge up what they could. We'll see if they can actually get a clear out. Haven't been able to find this clear. Looks like Stu's actually going to win that challenge. Send that over to the Rocketeer corner. But now challenge coming around here. Pork Dog not going to have a lot to do without boost, and Slaney cannot quite seem to put that one away there.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Slaney play, actually, so I don't have any information on him, but the other two, Perk Dog and Stu, are very good competitive players, so should be interesting to see, and looks like Toledo was just able to snatch a goal right there off of maybe a little shaky of a clearance, but maybe more so of a good defensive pressure there from Toledo.
Yeah, really good pressure overall there, right? And I think one of the things there, two members on the backboard for the Buckeyes in very similar positions. Unfortunately, with a well-placed shot, as that was from Toledo, just wasn't quite able to get that block away from the net. And so that one will be Toledo's first goal on the board. We'll see if there can be an Ohio State response here, though. Looks like they're actually going to give up possession here. It's now Widow Elizabeth going up. That one's going to get sent away here as well. Follow-up is going to come in Turk as well. It looks like actually Ohio State able to find the long clear back away to the corner.
It looks like they might get a goal here, but a good clearance there from Stu. And it looks like Toledo's doing a really good job keeping the pressure up, something OSU hasn't been able to turn for their favor and maybe turn into a goal, unfortunately. But really competitive game so far, and we're already about the halfway mark.
Yep, sitting at the halfway mark now of this game. Still plenty of time, though, for a goal to go either direction here. And so Widow Elizabeth going to be looking for something, a little bit of a flip reset here. That one's going to get sent away by Perk Dog, but getting a little fancy with it. Try to get things in. But, one of the things that I've noticed in collegiate play overall, especially at the highest level, is very rarely is it going to be about those solo plays. The fancy ceiling shots or flip resets nowadays. It's going to be all about those infield passing plays, confusing your opponent when they don't know exactly where that shot's going to be coming from or when it's going to be taken. That is going to be those key moments to strike in those passing plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the first time that I've seen a flip reset in all the games that I've casted so far come off successfully like that. So I was shocked for a minute. I know I certainly could not do that in many years of practice.
Oh, well, you've probably got a few more years in the game than me. I know I certainly will have no shot at pulling off anything like that. I don't even know how you even start with controlling the ball and car control. There's so much there. And there's, in fairness, a lot that these players make look very simple and very easy. And so, that's one of the things here is that you really shouldn't be taking a lot of the mechanics you're seeing for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I've played Rocket League for a while, and I'd say the biggest thing is consistency. You always look at a certain angle or a certain shot or looking for a certain player, and it's all about practice and repetition. These guys spend hours probably practicing together or working on certain techniques and stuff, and yeah, it's something you just don't see because these are just 5-minute games, and obviously what a nice pass there and a nice little dink right into the net, but unfortunate clearance from Ohio State, and it's just maybe not two mistakes, but one mistake there for sure led to a goal, and that's just something OSU is just going to have to clean up a little bit if we're hoping to pull this back.
The other thing, though, there was the physicality that was actually coming in from the Rocketeers. They got a demo there that really opened up that goal, but also earlier in the play, Bumbaluba was actually looking to try to bump another Ohio State defender in the goal. They were really looking for that physical play on offense. They found it there, getting themselves up 2-0 here with 30 seconds left to play.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of mistake there earlier, and looks like Slaney's just going to get a nice, easy goal. There are 24 seconds left. This could get really interesting. Maybe a chance to bring it back if OSU can focus and apply some pressure to Toledo.
Certainly a chance, and hey, right place, right time there for Slaney, able to send that one right to the back of the net. And Toledo's going to have to be really careful here. Needs to play conservative with 24 seconds left to go. So we'll have to see exactly how this one pans out.
Looks like Stu's just going to get a nice clearance there. Let's see if Perk Dog can maybe tap that in. Oh, what an amazing block there by the Toledo defender. I'm not sure who it was, but that was at the right place at the right time.
Widow Elizabeth with the save. Now looking for a little bit of the offensive. The Ohio State crew going to have to keep this one up in the air to try to stall out for time. but now is going to have to try to scramble to the blue side of the pitch and will not make it. The Rocketeers are going to take game one.
Oh, that was a really interesting game, really close. I mean, towards there at the end, Ohio State almost just tied it up there with maybe like 10 seconds left. I'd say one of the first things that I noticed, it's actually a really close game. Like right off the bat, I think these are two really close teams. I think one of the goals was just led by a mistake, and even then on Toledo's part, it was also a little mistake. Slaney had a wide open goal. We call that a mailbox, I guess. You just stick it right in the mailbox, I reckon. But what do you have to say about both teams right now?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, I think it does look very even and certainly can look very promising. One thing that I always like to say about Ohio State squads is that typically we're a second half team. That goes for both second half of the game and second half of the series. So really interested to see what kinds of adjustments that the Ohio State roster is going to make as we start moving on forward. But, as you mentioned, weren't a ton of goals there overall. And so it's really good for both sides, making sure that they're staying strong on defenses and not really giving a ton of super strong opportunities to have those shots. And so, when you are going to have those shots, going to be critical to make sure that you're getting those, making the maximum amount that you can out of those offensive possessions by building up pressure. And that's exactly what we're seeing a little bit out of Toledo, right? With those bumps, with those demos, building up the pressure is going to be really critical here. We'll have to see if Ohio State responds as we head into game two.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the most impressive players I've watched so far is this Widow Elizabeth. I think, the most technically skilled out here so far. I mean, we saw a flip reset, something, like I said, I couldn't even do it in my dreams. So it should be really interesting to see, maybe a little bit more of that action coming together.
Yeah, plenty of games left to play here, hypothetically. So we'll have to wait and see. Perhaps there'll be another opportunity get something else fancy in here or otherwise. But, the other thing is, I think that's one of the natures of this format. I believe, and, my producer can tell me in my ear if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is a Swiss format. Actually, scuffle on the goal line here. It's looking interesting, and D-Turk gonna come away with the goal here for Toledo. So I'll hold that thought for a moment. But overall, it's just going to be the consistent follow-ups here from the Rocketeers.
Yeah, I almost cried tears of joy when Perk Dog saved that. That was an incredible save last second there, but unfortunately Toledo was just able to punish them and poach it into the goal. But, it's already a goal 1 minute on. I feel like this is what happened last game too. A really goal early on, a little bit of, maybe not some dead space in between, but it looks like Perk Dog's coming in last second. Totally changes my mind on what I just said. What an amazing follow-up, an amazing goal to tie it back up.
Yeah, really good follow-up there, but it really is all about the pass in the very beginning, coming in from Stu, setting that right off of that corner. That corner is really susceptible to those balls that can just fall right in front of the net, and that is insanely difficult to really block, to try to react before it reaches the goal line. So props to Stu for setting that one up, and then, of course, for the follow-up from Berkeley.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Ohio State is definitely applying a little bit more offensive pressure right now. Maybe they're just getting some more easier balls to hit in the corner, maybe. But it looks like offensively they're really solid. And this is definitely what I like to see. I like to see a lot of goals, a lot of action.
Yeah, a lot of action here coming together, but Toledo doing a good job of maintaining their possession for right now. Had a lot of shots here, making sure that their last man back is already touching the ball, and now Perk Dog looking for a shot here. That's going to go off of the corner. Not quite able to put this one away, but Ohio State with another opportunity. Stu looking for the flip reset here as well, just a little bit early, but it's just
wow!
Right,
what an amazing shot and goal! Holy cow! What an amazing flip reset and a block there too. I mean, you couldn't have written it any better, honestly.
Yeah, that was very well done. I thought that flip actually came in a little bit early, but turns out that it came in perfect time in order to kind of just shove it by that defender. Sometimes those 50-50 situations are a scuffle, but now Stu coming in with another one here as well. And that one's going to go in, putting Ohio State up 2 goals here. Still 3 minutes left to play in the game. A lot of Rocket League left to be played.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it just comes to show, at this level, you make one tiny mistake and you are punished instantly. There's no going back. And OSU is definitely, they're putting the hammer to the nail right now.
absolutely. They are really coming in clutch with a lot of these plays, and those capitalizations, on those mistakes and some of those misrotations. Again, all about being a lot of what Rocket League is about being in the right place at the right time. In a lot of cases, speaking of right place at the right time, capitalizing on it again is Widow Elizabeth here, putting a shot in from the midfield line with no Ohio State defenders back. And again, Bumbula doing a fantastic job on that demo to really clear out and open the field in front of the goal for the Rocketeers as they look to try to equalize this game.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where the defenders were. I guess my eyes were in so many different places at one time. But yeah, that was just a wide open goal. And, you definitely do not want to do that, especially not at this level. But either way, Ohio State is still up by 1 goal. But, like you said earlier, it's anyone's game. There's a lot of game left to be played.
A lot of game left to be played here. And now you're starting to see Ohio State going a little bit on that adaptation. Perkdog was looking for the bump away, but was not able to find that here. And now Bumpula just sending it right back to the other side of the pitch. A little bit more back and forth, a little bit more ping-pongy here. We'll have to see how it plays in as Toledo's looking for the offensive.
Well, Stewart, they're just trying to get a clearance, but looks like it's just stuck in Ohio State's corner right now. Toledo doing a good job just kind of making it awkward for Ohio State. Stu just gets a hit up there upfield, tries to go for goal.
Trying to go for the goal here, but looks like it is going to fall largely back into possession of Perkdog, who's going to try to send this one back to the other side of the pitch. Now Stu up for the ball, looking for the Slaney off of the backboard. Now trying to send it back to another teammate, but actually just going to take it themselves, and Slaney puts another one on the board for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's just a fantastic job for Stu to just get your car in there and hit it against the wall, hit it down. And that was a perfect little passing play there to give it to Slaney just to take it in for a nice and easy goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. As this pressure continues to mount here, a little bit more, and Ohio State certainly has been able to capitalize on a lot of what we have been talking about here so far. So good stuff to see from them. But again, still 60 seconds here for the response from the Rocketeers. And I have seen more crazier comebacks than 2 goals in 60 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially with these teams, we've already seen I guess speaking of that, Stu manages to make the goal difference by 3, 5-2 now. Stu has been absolutely the man of the match so far, I feel like. Just really applying the pressure on Toledo and scaring them almost with all his goals and all his contributions so far.
Yeah, has been a great job. But again, want to compliment Slaney. They're putting that one right on the backboard. And in a lot of cases, those backboard balls are very difficult to defend once they bounce off of that backboard. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult. You get disoriented with the way the ball cam works. So in a lot of cases, what a lot of players will try to do is go up for those on the backboard to try to swap them down, as opposed to really letting them fall, wherever the approach is coming in on. And so didn't see that this time around, and that very well could be the end of the game there. Looks like couldn't quite find that one in. And so with just 15 seconds left in the game, it looks like Ohio State's going to take this game to equalizing the series in this best of 5.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like just Toledo's just trying to get maybe one more goal, maybe work on keeping the ball up. But it looks like OSU's just going to, maybe they're not going to kill it here. We'll see what happens. Playing it off. Okay, well, a little interesting there. Interesting way to end the game, maybe trying to pass it for Toledo, give an opportunity here to shorten the goal deficit. But I'd say I'm really impressed with the whole team's performance as a whole. I mean, obviously we saw Stu get some nice goals there and a nice pass to Slaney earlier. But overall, I'd say the attacking mentality and the attacking techniques of this team have been absolutely fantastic, and I'm very impressed so far. 5-2, it's a bigger scoreline. I'm not sure if Toledo deserved to concede 5 goals, but I think we absolutely deserve the win. What about you, Kenneth?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was a little bit unfortunate on the defensive rotations for the University of Toledo, and a lot of it was just, again, right place, right time. We're seeing that on both sides of the pitch here, right? Where in a lot of cases, it's, Toledo that's going to be able to, find the goal after a demo on the offensive, or whether that's Ohio State that's really just threading the needle and putting the ball in the perfect spot so that it's just out of reach of those defenders, especially on those passes back down. I've been talking about, a little bit of those ricochets off the backboard as well can be very difficult to defend. And again, placing the ball right in front of one of your teammates always is where exactly you want to go for. So seeing a lot of good, especially in that game from Ohio State, and we'll see if they can keep it up here moving forward into this game 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the coolest things that we've noticed so far is a lot of technical stuff that I have not seen before. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe some players have gotten a little bit more time. They've gotten a little bit more confident as the season's progressed, but it's been amazing to watch so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, I think a lot of, what we might talk about here in terms of that confidence is it's not only confidence in yourself, but it's also confidence in your teammates. It's also confidence in building up that synergy and that, intrinsic teamwork. That is so fundamental in Rocket League in a lot of cases. And one of the things about Rocket League that I think is interesting is that, in Rocket League specifically, you have to have like almost an instinctual level of trust that your teammate's going to just kind of be there, be in the right place at the right time, and clean things up for you. And so, as you start playing more and more with the same roster, you're going to start to build up that intrinsic level of trust in one another. And I think that's starting to come on board for a lot of the teams in the PlayVS League right now. Already, though, Toledo has been on the offensive in a lot of cases here early in this game. They've been doing an excellent job of keeping the pressure up, but Ohio State really just cannot find a strong clear away.
Yeah, and it's last 2 games, we saw some really early on goals, and right now it just seems a little bit of a scramble for Ohio State to maybe try and clear this ball. Toledo are doing a really good job, but this looks like their first counter, and it just hit off to the side there from Perk Dog. But yeah, I mean, like you said, the unity between the player, I mean, it's very important, and this also plays off what you said earlier with we're not going to see many individual plays. It's going to have to be the work of all 3 players on each side to try and get this ball into the back of the net, of course. And a lot of it's behind the scenes. Some players make a certain rotation or a certain pass that maybe you don't notice, but it's all a key part of just one single goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we're starting to look for that single goal. Haven't quite seen it so far yet in this game. Already about, halfway through this match, where both these teams are really just trying to buy each other out. It's the Buckeyes' turn now to really get something moving here. And Stu is actually going to be looking for another pass. That one's going to get intercepted by Dietrich there in the middle, right in front of the Toledo net. But both these teams have had offensive opportunities. The defense has been holding so far. A lot of what I've been talking about here haven't found those gaps in the defense on the other sides. And so actually Stu here might have found one. No, but Widow Elizabeth going to be there just to send this one away. Well done there. And now perhaps Toledo going on the offensive.
Yeah, it looks like Slaney here is just going to get a clearance. Maybe Stu with the follow-up. It's a little awkward for Toledo right now. This might be a chance. A brilliant clearance there from Widow Elizabeth. But yeah, I mean, it's been really back and forth right now. No teams have found like a good gap to maybe score and counter off of. They've just both been really, they've been half chances. They haven't really exactly been an open goal or anything that someone can really take an easy shot and counter from, which is it's made it a very interesting game, very back and forth. And I guess we'll see how it plays out here in the last minute and a half here. Still 0-0.
Still 0-0. Park Dog there didn't have the boost, kind of gave the ball over to the University of Toledo player. Now Slaney going up in the air, looking for the shot. That one's going to be off the backboard, and there's the clear away from Widow Elizabeth. Widow Elizabeth looking like the fastest player in the lobby right now, all over the pitch in a lot of cases, able to follow the ball up there very masterfully. And, a lot of the defensive saves and plays so far have been on the behalf of this player. So really fantastic stuff to see there. From the University of Toledo side. And now 60 seconds left to go. Both these squads looking like they're a little boost deprived here. Widow Elizabeth going up for this one. Might be looking for a little bit of a solo play, but it is not going to be able to find that. Berk Dog swats that one away as well.
Yeah, it looks like the ball keeps getting really close on the backboard, really in front of goal, and looks like both teams are doing an excellent job just being able to deal with it. And right there, for another example, I mean, sometimes it could be really awkward, or maybe you're in a panic and attacker's trying to pressure you, but it looks like the first nice easy pass of the game, but really amazing defense there. I mean, the defense on both sides of this game has been fantastic, and just right there with 18 seconds remaining, Toledo's able to find a goal from a just a really easy shot right there, and I feel like that's the first one that we've seen all game where the goal has been that open with a shot.
Yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate touch there from Stu. I think was looking for a little bit more power on the ball, trying to send it over players' heads, but unfortunately there falls right into the hands of, I believe it was Dietrich there, able to put that one, as you mentioned, with the easy shot right in front of the goal. And now 8 seconds for the Buckeye response. Doesn't even look like they're going to get the chance to do that, as Witt Elizabeth comes up with yet another one here. And perhaps, again, a little bit of a fumble on the Ohio State defense.
Yeah, two people went up for it on the wall there, and maybe a little bit of miscommunication led to that goal. I'm not too sure. Maybe it was just one missing, the other one trying to react. But unfortunately, Toledo was able to capitalize, and now it's 2-0 with 7 seconds left. And it doesn't look like much of an opportunity here to come back or even score a goal. So it's going to be Toledo 2 in the series to Ohio State 1 so far. Very, very close games, though. Very, very close games. I mean, 2-0 right there towards the end. I mean, those were just, both of them were really wide open goals, and maybe just a slight fault of the players. One of them was a bit of a mishit from Stu, unfortunately, and the other one was maybe a little bit of miscommunication. But that's what it comes down to, I mean, it's a matter of seconds in this game. You got 5 minutes, but sometimes it's all it takes is one goal or one mistake, and it can lead to just about anything in the game.
And, I think a large part of that is all going to be about player mentality over the course of a lot of it, right? I mean, I think a lot of that, second goal that went in from Akron and the scramble that we were watching there a little bit from Ohio State could be nerves. They were like, oh, we have like 9 seconds to score a goal to tie this game up if we want a chance to win this one, And at that point, it's like the 1 goal difference is like, that's a winnable thing, right? Like, that's a potential thing, get a couple of lucky bounces. That ball's going to find the back of your opponent's net. But unfortunately, when you're put in that, tight panic position, I'm sure we've all been, in those kind of panic, anxiety-inducing positions. But, sometimes you're just going to be prone to make mistakes. And so it's going to be about how they bounce back again in the rest of this series. Going to have to win the next 2 games, but certainly not, a super daunting task, I would think. Again, both these teams still very evenly matched, especially looking back over the course of this entire series so far. As a matter of fact, I mean, we didn't have a goal there until like the 60-second mark or something like that. A lot of time where the game was scoreless. And so going to be all about making sure that you're capitalizing on your opponent's mistakes or even trying to force some of those mistakes yourself through those physical plays that we were kind of talking about earlier in the series.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the most crucial things that's going to be important for Ohio State is to not let the fact that this is a game point get in their heads. Just kind of play like another game and just take it as is. Take it minute by minute, get the proper hits. I mean, they're doing a fantastic job. Both sides are. This is very evenly matched, but it can be anyone's game at any time. I mean, like we said, it went a whole 4 minutes without a goal until the last 18 seconds there pretty much. And, it's anyone's game. But it is unfortunately match point for Toledo as of right now. But if Ohio State wins back-to-back games, they can take the series home.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, in the race for playoffs here, as that starts to heat up, every team is going to want to start winning a handful more games to get themselves in that position to make this playoffs bracket. Both these teams sitting at 5-3 want as many wins as possible, including Toledo, who's going to have Bambula score that first opening kickoff goal.
Yeah, it's just a little bit unfortunate there. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication again. We saw that Park Dog was sitting in the back, maybe waiting to get a clearance, but Slaney was able to fall right in front of the path of the ball and maybe made it a little bit awkward. But yeah, that was just 8 seconds in, and that's all it takes, man. It's all it takes, just 8 seconds. And it's still anyone's game at this point, but the timing and the mistakes, it's very crucial right now.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Again, can't let those nerves get to you, right? As you mentioned, it's just another game of Rocket League, but as what we're seeing right now, perhaps, Ohio State with that double commit could certainly be feeling them. Although meanwhile, with Witt Elizabeth going for so many of these wild plays off the ceiling and elsewhere, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how Ohio State is going to be able to adopt to some of these. Witt Elizabeth going up for the ball yet again here. Probably looking to send this one off the backboard to a teammate. Not quite going to be able to find it that time around, but Ohio State really has not had the opportunity to go on much of an offensive here. Now Bambula looking for another one is going to be able to find it. Just playing so much faster right now are the Rocketeers.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just I don't know what it is. I mean, watching the game, it looks like just a little bit of defensive errors or maybe a miscommunication, you know. I mean, obviously, if I were in Ohio State's shoes, I would be a little nervous knowing that this is game point. Now being 2-0 down, that could be a little bit of a detriment on the confidence there. But hopefully, Ohio State's able to focus up and maybe turn this thing around. I mean, it's only 2 goals down, and you got 3 minutes 40 seconds left, but they need to get a little bit more on the offensive if they're gonna have a chance here to take the series home for us.
Yeah, just really have to start playing faster. As I mentioned, Toledo has really been all over top of the ball right now. Slaney has an opportunity here and is going to be able to put that one in the back of the net here for Ohio State, getting themselves a little bit further back in progress, and able to just send that one right in.
Yeah, and that all started right there from Stu having a little bit of coolness and composure there to maybe not flip the ball up in the air, but just to kind of dribble and let it lay on the top of his car there. And a little bit of an unfortunate bounce for Toledo, but it ended up being a goal for Ohio State there that Slaney could just hit in. But yeah, you're right. I mean, absolutely, this game's going to have to pick up the pace for Ohio State's side if they're willing to put the pressure on and get a win here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're starting to see a little bit more of that, as we start looking at the rest of this and how it's going to continue playing out. But yeah, we're going to have to exactly see how this all comes together. Still plenty of time here left in this game as Ohio State's going on the offensive again. Dietrich going to be able to send that one away for now. But Ohio State's still looking strong on the offensive.
It's looking a little awkward for Toledo there. Oh, very close in there, and Dietrich just had to get a easy little clearance, but it was looking a little awkward for that. It looks like Ohio State's showing some more positive mentality here, trying to bring a goal back and at least bring it up to a tie.
Slaney looking for another touch on the ball here as well, just to keep it on the blue side of the pitch. I think that's a large part about what Ohio State's trying to do right now, and it's more or less working. It's working right up until you have someone on the demo. Now on the goal line is that player, but looks like they were able to send that one away to the corner here, installing things out for a little more. Perkdog with no boost, can't really do much more with that ball. And now Ohio State really going to have to transition back onto the defensive side of the pitch, look for a long clear, and look for a potential breakaway goal here.
Yeah, absolutely. And right then and there, all 3 Toledo players are up, and Stu was just trying to get a nice clearance. But maybe if Ohio State can force Toledo to push up and commit some numbers here and maybe capitalize off of that, that might give them an opportunity to score a goal here. Toledo are still feeling very confident. They're not playing defensive and trying to hold it for sure. They're definitely trying to score more goals in order to win this game, not hold their lead, which is something you definitely have to do in Rocket League, right? You can't just put all 3 players on the goal line and expect you to win the game at this point.
You do not want to be sitting on a 1-goal lead, and that could be exactly why Widow Elizabeth was able to get that one off of the post. But 1 goal is a very volatile lead. Could potentially get switched around at any moment. And so again, able to find this one away, but on the offensive, Stu looking for something here. It looks like a double commit there as well from Ohio State. Not able to make this one, but it's going to make the smooth transition to offense for the Rocketeers as they look again to extend their lead. Not the case, though. Back over to the other side of the pitch for Slaney. Now Perkdog sending it back to the blue side of the pitch. So much back and forth here as both these teams are really jockeying for position. And Widow Elizabeth going to put one on target onto the net. Well done. Just waited for the right opportunity to strike. And that was a very nice setup coming in as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was just a little bit of a mistake there from Perkdog. I think he was just trying to get a ball forward in order to get a goal as quickly as possible. And maybe his teammates didn't have the same idea in mind. Maybe wanted to take their time more. But fortunately, it led to a mistake. And now coming into the last 30 seconds here, Ohio State's going to have to really amp it up if they're willing to or trying to get 2 goals here. It's going to be really difficult. But Perkdog's got a flip right there, and Dietrich's able to just clear it out there.
Yeah, Toledo really been looking cool, calm, and collected over the course of this game. I think that's really going to be exactly what saves it for them. A little bit of an own goal there, unfortunately. Trying to find the cross play and the cross block sometimes doesn't exactly work out in your favor. And now 3 goals in 15 seconds, looking unlikely for the Buckeye squad. This match going to go to the hands of the Rocketeers.
Yeah, with the 15 seconds left, I mean, there's not really much that's going to be done here, but I'd say overall in this series, it's been really oh, well, nice goal there from Stu there.
All right,
unfortunately,
wait,
not going to be enough, but you never know. Never know.
I mean, hey, I've
Anything's
seen
possible.
crazier things in Rocket League, you know? Like, it's possible to get 2 goals in 8 seconds. Gonna have to take some cheesy kickoff shenanigans here. So it's really gonna have to depend on this kickoff. Slaney could be looking for something here. Has to get this one in before we hit the 1 second mark. Stu does not find the connection. That 1 second will expire and the ball will hit the ground. The Rocketeers gonna go ahead and take the series in 3-1 fashion.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really close series, I'd say. In terms of performances from both teams, maybe not the record. I mean, 3-1 shows otherwise, but either way, I think Ohio State and Toledo both did a great job. I'd say it just came down to what you said earlier, a little bit about mentality. I think maybe they went to that game knowing that, hey, if we lose, then we lose the series, not like, hey, if we lose, then we move on, you know. But it is a little bit hard to adjust, you know. It's hard to not think about that, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's really difficult to, try to take that pressure off of yourselves, right? It's almost innate to really start feeling that, really start feeling like, oh, goodness, if we lose this game, we're kind of out here. And we're going to make that race to playoffs all that much more difficult. But we'll have to see if they could reset the Ohio State squad, that is, as they go up against the Northwood squad in just a moment. But I see a handful of Toledo fans in the chat. Just want to give a quick shout out to and GG's to all of our Ohio brethren up there in the northwestern part of the state. Shout outs to you all for coming on along. And I hope you all enjoyed the cast. Maybe you'll consider sticking around for the next one too, as the Ohio State squad is going to go up against Northwood in a moment. But yeah, Ryland, as we look forward to that next match, what are you really looking for out of the Ohio State squad here?
Oh man, I mean that performance was really good. I'd say from both teams, but especially Ohio State. I think attacking and defensive wise, they're doing a really good job. I would say going into the next game, I'd say some of their goals were definitely let off of probably communication mistakes. We don't get to hear their communications, but you could see some, double takes there, like more than one person going for the same ball, or like some really awkward plays. If they can just fix that up, then it could be a huge turnaround, and I'd expect to see a lot better score differentials and a lot more competitive games on Ohio State's end. But what about you?
Yeah, I mean, well, to piggyback off of your point, right? Rocket League is one of those games that's really built around fluidity, right? It's these things called rotations, right? Where the goal is to have all 3 players kind of moving around the map as a unit, kind of in a triangle, separated out from one another. So there's always going to be someone that's about ready to challenge the ball. And that's true on both offensive and defensive sides of the pitch. Very rarely are you going to see one person just kind of sit in goal for an extended period of time and act like more of a goalkeeper, as you might expect in a more traditional soccer game. But otherwise, it's going to be all about that constant movement, that constant fluidity coming out of the Ohio State squad, and just going to be something that they're going to need to find a little bit more of a groove in. That's one of the other things. I think Rocket League is very much more of a groove game, right? You're either in your groove for a game or two, then you might lose it. They'll be looking to try to regain it in the series versus Northwood.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Well, looks like we're going to go ahead and take a break for a little while. I believe the Northwood match will be ready at 9:15. So hope to see you all there. And hope you'll be back for our second match of the night. This is Play versus Week 5, and you're watching the Ohio State Esports broadcast. Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the Ohio State Esports broadcast. We are in week 5 of PlayVS. My name is Kenneth. I am joined by Rylan, and of course, we've got our second match of the night versus Northwood White.
Yeah, we came off of casting another game earlier against Toledo. There was a very close set of games there from both sides, but I think we should be expecting a similar thing here. Both teams are tied on records. Well, at least in the game before. Obviously, OSU has now suffered, unfortunately, yet another loss. But it should be, I think it should be a close matchup. Like we said last game, I think if OSU maybe works a little bit on just fixing some of those mistakes and communication problems, it should be a turnaround for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a little bit of promise there from the Buckeyes in some of those games, but unfortunately couldn't quite, I think, really put things together under pressure. And so that's going to be, the real key thing here is the Buckeye squad going to feel like they're under pressure? One of the interesting things, it's Ohio State versus Northwood. And actually, the funny thing is that right now these two schools are also playing in a CRL match. The BGC club team is currently going up against the Northwood A squad in CRL. So that's kind of funny that this is happening at the same time. Both schools playing two different matches. So we'll have to see who gets the better of who on the day, or if the series is going to go 1-1. I don't know how we're going to have to split that tie. But should be a good one here. These two schools have well-developed programs in Rocket League, have had a history. As a matter of fact, actually both national champion winning schools, if I remember correctly. Ohio State had a team early in the CRL days, and Northwood, I believe, was last season's winner. So both of these, a lot of these players in the room might be looking for, that high peak potential that we've seen coming out of some of these universities. But should just be a good one to watch here between these two teams specifically.
Yeah, and Ohio State, maybe they're feeling a little bit deflated after the last series of games, but I'm hoping that they're able to turn that mentality into more redemption for this series and not maybe get so shaky out there, because they did a fantastic job, I think. But I think if they're able to turn that a little bit more of a revenge and maybe come out in these next series of games and maybe showcase the same exact quality, if not better, I think we have a fair chance of taking this series home for us.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, there was, like we said earlier, a lot of good promising things coming out of the Ohio State squad, and now we're getting into game here versus Northwood White, the Timberwolves here. So should be a good one to watch. Of course, Ohio State on the blue side and Northwood on the orange. So we're getting into game now, and should be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. And these players right here, Diesel, Queeds, and Poke, I've watched them a lot, and they have a lot of good qualities whenever they play together. They really show some unity here. I saw them play against Illinois, a couple other teams, and they were fantastic. So it should be interesting to see how they come out in this series of games against the Timberwolves. But they like to apply a lot of pressure and like to get a lot of passes off the wall, something that is very important in Rocket League, especially at this level, and I'm hoping to see that translate into this game as well.
Looking to see that translate here. Queed's getting a nice save off of the crossbar, but you're already starting to see a little bit more of that pressure mount that we were talking about here. Trying to get this one out is Poke. Looks like another OSU defender able to clear that one away here as well. But, a lot of early aggression here coming in from Northwood.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think both sides right now just kind of feeling each other out, and a little bit of a open goal there. Northwood was able to just capitalize on that. Unfortunately, no one was able to rotate and get on that side and just cover the goal.
Yeah, nobody quite there on the other side of the pitch for Ohio State. But, of course, hey, only one goal, still plenty of time left.
Absolutely, and Ohio State are just going to have to really showcase a little bit of their passing and attacking mentality here if they're going to bring this back. But like you said, still a lot of time left. It's anyone's game at this point, but I think right now, either way, I think both teams are kind of feeling each other out, getting an idea of how maybe certain matchups play against the players. And Queens is able to get a nice solid block there to tie the game up there. Really unfortunate. Well, actually, not unfortunate. Really great pressure there from Ohio State from both players. And it's able to result in a goal. So it's 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1 just off of that 50-50 kind of right there in front of the goal line. Or in front of the goal box, I should really say. And so able to walk away with that one and tie up the ball game. We'll see exactly where else this one decides to go. As looks like Ohio State can be the first one with possession here. Queens out of boost. Might not be able to do a ton here. Trying to shove it past the defender on the goal line. But I believe... Oh, no, actually was able to put that out. Sorry, folks. Feed stuttered a little bit on my end.
Yeah, that was really good pressure in there from Queens. Maybe the failed little trick flip reset there was able to throw off Northwood a little bit, but overall, I'd say both sides are playing really good, and Queens is just able to show us a little bit of aggression there in order to score 2 goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Able to come in clutch here for Ohio State, but we'll see how else this continues to develop as we progress in the rest of the series. Halfway through this first game, still plenty of time left for a lot more action.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things that I've noticed already is Northwood seems to be attacking with not all their players. You can see maybe just 2 people up. I'm not sure if they're maybe just unfortunate on the rotations, trying to get some boost so far, but Ohio State's managing to get all 3 players on the half and able to put some pressure on there for Northwood. But if Northwood would like to turn this around, they're going to have to see some more numbers up the field whenever they go down for the attack.
Going to have to see a little bit more of that, Haven't seen, perhaps all of that aggression here in the past little bit of time. But might be looking to try to make some plays soon, as it looks like Queens was looking to find that shot on net. Couldn't quite seem to put that one in. But Ohio State probably going to be looking to scoop this one up and try to keep on the offensive. It actually looks like long clear. It's going to go into the hands of Garrett M, and he's just going to be able to take that to the net himself. And that's going to equalize the score for Northwood.
Yeah, and I think right now Northwood are just playing defensively, I think is what I'm observing. Ohio State has put them on the back foot, put them all 3 on their half, all 6 players really on the same half. And Northwood was just able to counter there and get an easy goal. And if Ohio State are going to have to play this sort of mentality, they're going to have to be clinical whenever they go for these challenges. And they're going to have to make sure that they get them and they commit to them. And you can't really back out when you have this sort of mentality. It can be... you can produce a lot of goals, but you can also concede a lot. And we're already seeing 4 goals in this game, and I feel like that's even more than the last series in some occasions this early on without mistakes.
Absolutely here. So looks like actually
yeah,
I'm going to be able to find another one as well.
Yeah, it looks like just like an unfortunate hit there from Queeds. Northwood was just able to poach it right in there. It seemed like a little bit of an easy goal, but still anyone's game. 58 seconds left. Anything can happen. Let's see how Ohio State responds.
Going to be looking to put this one in here off of the backboard as well, which, tried to set that one up, but couldn't quite seem to find that here either.
This is just going to take this from the corner here, and looks like Ohio State's a little bit on the back foot. It's looking a little awkward. Pug was able to get a clearance there.
Find the clearance. Diesel also able to follow up here to send this back to the other side of the pitch. Now Diesel looking for something here off of the backboard as well, and looking to follow it up is the Ohio State squad.
20 seconds left in the game. Let's see how Ohio State can maybe turn the game around, maybe get a goal. Unfortunately, it's looking a little bit awkward down the center of the field.
Awkward. Might be able to find the follow-up off of this clear, but actually just going to let it go all the way back to the corner. 1 goal left to score here, and as this clock hits 1, Queens is going to have to find this one on target, and is not going to be able to do that. Northwood going to go ahead and take game 1.
Yeah, that was a little bit unfortunate, I feel like, from Ohio State. They really, really applied a lot of pressure, and I think they did a really fantastic job offensively. At least right off the start. Northwood was just able to capitalize, I think, a lot on Ohio State's mistakes.
Yeah,
and that happens. That definitely
Oh,
happens. There's nothing you can really do about it. You kind of have to move on, and kind of see how you can improve in the next game here.
yep, absolutely. As I mentioned, second half team. Maybe we'll see if they can come on back, from things here. And, we still did see a lot of promising things. Queez was able to find a handful of those and just not all the time was able to put all the shots on target necessary to fully finish things out. So, have to see what kinds of adjustments that this roster does end up making in order to try to continue here to find things versus this Northwood squad. And, again, still, once again, very close. Shows you the level of competition here that as we've gone over the course of the handful of these weeks, the matches are just going to get more competitive and more competitive as you're starting to fight teams with those similar records. And so, we're starting to get to that point in the season where a lot of these teams are going to be close. It is going to come down to, the mechanical ability is really going to be there. For both these squads, going to be all about the execution as we get into these games.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming into the second game here, I'd say one thing I would like to see improved, even from both sides, is speed of play. It seems like all their goals have been really slowed down and have been blocks. Not really much passing play, I feel like, enough to at least result in a goal. But if they're going to want to turn the series around here, even though Ohio State is only down by 1, they're going to have to speed up their play and show that they're willing to compete and they're willing to fight for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see if they can pull it out here as, we're starting to keep up a little bit more of that aggression. Poke here, actually going for that one, trying to keep this up, trying to keep the pressure on as Northwood is going to have to scramble around on defense.
Queez just tries to hit it up against the ceiling, and it looks like Poke is able to poke it in right there at the upper 90 there. That was a really good play by Queez there to just shove it up against the ceiling and give time for one of the other players to come from the midfield and tap it in, and ends up being 1-0 already 50 seconds into the match.
And once again, it really shows you how awkward some of those balls that are just sitting right in front of the goal can be for that defensive side to really try to defend, right? That was very well hit off the ceiling by Queets, as you mentioned, and fell right in front of Poke. And even though there were a handful of Northwood Timberwolves around to send that ball away, they couldn't quite seem to find the proper angle on that one. Just kind of an awkward position, right? With the camera moving around and everything. So Ohio State able to strike first here in this game. But again, a 1-goal lead, not going to be enough nearly. So we'll have to see if they can try to keep this up.
Yeah, and if Ohio State are definitely going to get this win, like you said, they're just going to have to score more goals. But it looks like they're choosing to respond as if they want to score more goals, right? They're keeping the pressure up. Ohio State's doing a fantastic job. They're not letting up. But Northwood are also doing a really good job countering it and able to show a little bit of their defensive technique and ability. So it's just going to be a really close game here coming down to the last 3 minutes. Still plenty of time, anyone's game, but Ohio State are going to have to score more goals if they're going to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little birdie told me that the team with the most goals scored at the end of 5 minutes is going to end up being victorious. So right now, Ohio State putting themselves in pretty good position, but again, still 3 minutes left to play nearly. So they're going to have to try to get this up. Diesel off the backboard. Cannot quite seem to find a connection there. Is Queeds. But it looks like Ohio State's still looking to maintain possession.
Yeah, really awkward here for Northwood White. I'd say, that's definitely a result of Ohio State applying a lot of pressure. I think that was Garrett right there. Just had an unfortunate hit right off against his own backside wall right there. But, yeah, I mean, this is what we wanted, right? We wanted high pressure. We wanted aggression. We wanted a little bit of revenge, a little bit of redemption now. They've got a taste of blood, and they want more. They want to come out here, and they want to win this series.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they're coming in here with a little bit more invention, similar to how we saw in that last game, too. I think, if this keeps up here for the remainder of this game, too, which may very well be, but, still plenty of time here left to play. But I think this series is really going to be defined by that game 3. That's the tipping point of the series overall, assuming that things stay 1-1. So going to have to see exactly how this does play out. Ball going to fall right in front of the net, but that one's going to get sent away by Queeds, and another breather here for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, and it looks like Ohio State's just doing a really good job, able to get some nice little dinks or hits to be followed up from the midfield point. And I feel like that's going to be the key to their attacking success right now, because a lot of the Northwood players, they just wait, for an opportunity to come all the way from the back in order to do something. And it looks like Queets here is just going to get a little touch there. Unfortunately, it's not in. But Ohio State putting a lot of pressure right now. Northwood White hasn't been able to do that much, unfortunately, on the attack. Very close right there.
A lot of close shots here, but a long ball back to the other side of the field, and Repitzel able to put that one in here for Northwood. And that's just some of the times when you get these long touches and when everyone's kind of clustered around the net, leaves the net on the other side of the field wide open. And Northwood going to start to come back here in this game. See if the Buckeyes can hold them off or if Northwood is going to take this game.
It looks like Diesel's got a really good chance here to score, and he just tries to tuck it in. Queets coming in late, and it looks like Northwood are going to score and counter off of this. And this was just, as I was going to talk about, it looks like Northwood is kind of absorbing this pressure like a sponge and just squeezing it all out and scoring, and now bringing it back 2-2. I mean, Ohio State was just in the lead 2-0 not too long ago, but it looks like, right now it's tied, and now it's anyone's game for sure.
I will say, overall, we talk about all of this pressure that should really be applied, but in some cases, it can come back to bite you if you're not making sure that you're making the touches when appropriate. And so, in a lot of cases, Ohio State overextended a little bit more, was really greedy, looking for that goal, and gave away the equalizer. They're now put under pressure here in the next 30 seconds to score another.
Yeah, and Queets right there just trying to hit it off the top of his car, but it seems like Ohio State right now are playing with a little bit of frustration. They really want to score. They really want to take the win because they feel like they deserve it after all the attacking plays they put together. But like you said, if you're not properly rotating, you're not managing your boosts, you're not doing everything correctly to a T, it can lead to a lot of mistakes, and that's what's going on here. It looks like Loom just tried to get a shot right before the clock ended, and we're now headed into overtime.
But yeah, to your point, right, overall, is that they probably feel like they're robbed a little bit, right? Now, pressure's on them here. As I was talking about, that game 3 can only be the tipping point as long as they win this game here as well. And now all of a sudden they're on the brink of potentially going 2 down in this series. So we'll have to see if Ohio State can try to close this one out. Looks like they will, actually, with that goal coming in from Queeds on a nice little pop-up by Diesel.
Yeah, absolutely. And then only took 19 seconds. Fortunately, we did not have to wait a really long time to see a goal. Not really much back and forth, but I'm not exactly sure if Ohio State is really feeling the best right now coming off of that, because you apply that pressure, and if it leads to mistakes, you're kind of thinking to yourself, you're like, what did I do wrong, or how can I fix this? But I feel like it's just the way that these players are playing, and if they're going to do this, they're going to have to perfect their model a little bit during this series. They have all 3 players in their half, and I feel like every single time it's just been a chip over all 3 of them, and it's just been an easy tap-in, unfortunately.
Yeah, here's the deal right now. Really, for either one of these teams, it's a completely even game from this point out. It's a completely even match from this point out. They're both starting 0-0. It's a best of 3. Who's going to win 2 of the next 3 games at this point? And it's going to start with this fresh reset here in game 3. Really going to set the tone for who's going to have the onus to really come out on top in those remaining 2 games potentially. But yeah, really going to come down to this game 3. Gotta be a fresh mental reset. Ignore everything that happened in the last game. Perhaps some of those late game mistakes aside, really got to focus on the next few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're coming here to the next 5 minutes, the next game, the 3rd game. Let's see what happens. And Queets almost gets a really early goal there from a little bit of a kickoff mistake there. But if Ohio State are going to take this series home, they're just going to have to perfect a little bit of their rotation down, I think. I mean, they have the attacking mentality and the attacking idea right in mind. Let's see what Queets can do here off the passing play. Looks like it's just shut down there on the Plitzel.
Yeah, shut down. Paul kind of got a little bit ahead of Queez here, but looks like Ohio State trying to maintain this a little bit more. Queez potentially going off the wall yet again. Doesn't quite have the boost to beat Loom to the ball, but, you know, nonetheless, Ohio State looking pretty promising here, looking, you know, to try to be a little bit more aggressive in the opening minutes of this game. But, you know, as we've seen, very well might come back to bite them, so definitely gonna have to make sure we're playing conservative, but not even gonna matter if you could put that ball in the back of the net, and that's exactly what Pope does.
Yeah, absolutely. 50 seconds in, Ohio State again showing their prowess. They know that they can score goals, they know they have the technique, and they know that they have the pressure, and they are applying it. They're just gonna have to perfect the rotations. We always talk about, you know, attacking rotations, rotating, you know, on the sides, trying to get the good passing plays and have the opportunity to score. But, you know, fair to say, Northwood have been doing an excellent job rotating defensively, making sure there's always someone on the ball. But Ohio State's just going to have to be a little better if they're going to have to take this series home because, you know, defending, you just got to keep the ball out of the net and away from the players. The attacking's going to take a little bit more creativity, and it looks like Poke's just able to somehow get that over there awkwardly over all three Northwood players. Oh, it looks like a little bit of an own goal, actually.
Well, a little bit of a 50-50 there, and sometimes, you know, those are just the parts where, if you're Northwood, just gonna be like, well, little unlucky, and try to move on here. Still plenty of time left for 2 goals and plenty more to be scored in the remainder of this game, so we'll have to see what the Timberwolves' response is here as they're hungry to try to get on the board.
Absolutely, and already we can see that this ball is on Northwood's side, and it's looking a little bit unfortunate, a little bit awkward for them. But Ohio State doing a really good job just hitting it away from the defenders even. You know, you don't necessarily always have to hit it towards goal. You just got to maybe get them to commit some players forward or get some numbers in different halves of the fields that, you know, can result in goals, and that's exactly what Ohio State's doing. And it looks like Loom is just able to slot a goal in between 2 of the defenders there. Unfortunately, just trying to clear it from Diesel there, but Loom's just able to capitalize, get a goal, and bring it back 2-1.
I didn't quite see it in the replay there. Did the 2 Ohio State defenders actually hit each other? I feel like that's a chance that they did. I don't know exactly what happened there, but, you know, just couldn't quite find that connection on the ball. Well, meanwhile, though, trying to still find something here. We start moving on forward. 1-goal game with 3 minutes left to play. Plenty of time. Once again, this game is not over for quite a while. Diesel here with a nice little floater. Going to send it right over some of those Timberwolves. Get this one to the back of the net, regaining that 2-goal lead.
I mean, this was just a really brilliant play right there. Queets was able to just put it down there for Diesel in order to slot it in. I mean, this is just fantastic attacking play from Ohio State. And if they keep this up, I mean, this series could be an easy wrap-up, but it's just going to have to come down to the rotations. Obviously, we saw right there. Like you said, I think maybe from Loom's angle, I feel like I saw them collide earlier. Maybe that's what resulted in the goal, but those little errors like that enough times can lead to an unfortunate loss if they're not careful.
Yeah, that's one of the things, you know, about rotations is that in a lot of cases, you're going to want to all be moving the same direction, right? It's a rotation. It's a circle, you know, where everyone's just going to be moving around the ball and the goal, kind of in that positioning in the same angle as opposed to cutting each other off. All the meanwhile, though, I'm going on a tangent, and Reptiles is going like, hey, look at me. We're scoring here. We're keeping the game competitive. Puts one in the back of the net for Northwood.
Yeah, and I think that was just maybe a little bit of a... They tried to get a hit forward, and it was an unfortunate miss, but Northwood are doing a fantastic job taking these opportunities, these little half opportunities that maybe don't look like they can result in anything off of a tiny mistake, and capitalizing every single time. And, you know, that's something Ohio State maybe has to work on a little bit. Maybe not try and make as many mistakes. It's what's resulting and leading to goals, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's what we've seen so far here. And it's all going to be about minimizing those as this series continues for both of these squads. 90 seconds here left to go for the remainder of this game. And so we'll have to see exactly who comes out on top here. It looks like Ohio State might be looking a little bit more on the offensive here.
And Garrett's right there just trying to settle on the wall, but Diesel's able to get a nice block before he gets to the halfway point. Ohio State, like I said, doing a really good job just trying to keep the ball in their half, and obviously they have a 1-goal lead, so it's going to be more important now than ever to keep the ball away from their goal. Otherwise, it could be 3-3 potentially. But we'll see how it ends up. We'll see how it pans out here in the last 50 or so seconds left in the match.
Squeeze up on the backboard, probably looking for an opponent, maybe looking for the bump here as well. Diesel potentially with the follow-up. That's actually just going to go back to the backboard. Double commit for Northwood. We'll see what the follow-up is here from Ohio State, but it actually looks like Loom is able to send this away, buying Northwood just a little bit more time. Poke getting a little fancy with it as well. That one's going to go off the backboard, roll to the other side of the net here as well. So Northwood able to swat some of these attempts away from Ohio State, but the pressure isn't gone yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coming in the last 23 seconds, it's looking a little bit awkward, a little bit, people trying to double commit in certain areas, maybe try and get the ball forward, but Northwood are going to have to commit pretty much everyone forward right now if they want to try and tie this game up, and Ohio State's just going to have to try and defend. They're doing a really good job just trying to keep the ball away from the goal. It's up in the air right now for Plitzel. It looks like it's just killed there to wrap the game up. The winners are Ohio State, and we bring the series 2-1.
2-1, and as I mentioned, Game 3, turning point in the series, going to mean that there's that much more pressure on Northwood to really make the most out of the next game. And based on the momentum of this series so far, been largely in the Buckeyes' hands. So it's going to be all about how Northwood can really try to bounce back here in this next game. While Ohio State, you certainly don't want to get complacent. But you're allowed to make perhaps a few more mistakes, and you have the saving grace of a Game 5 if absolutely necessary. But surely, you don't want to let it go that distance if you can avoid it. I also know that I'm pretty sure, Games 1 could come into tiebreak counts later. So obviously, closing it out earlier for the better. But just being in that position where you are ahead right now, going to be so much better for the Ohio State squad as compared to what we saw in the last series earlier tonight.
Yeah, in the last series as well, Ohio State came off an unfortunate, repetition of losses, and that might have deflated them in their confidence. And I feel like maybe Northwood might be put in the same place right now, right? I mean, Ohio State, is coming off. They have now 2 wins now, and I feel like with their confidence and their ability, if they play their game and they do, maybe try and eliminate some of those smaller mistakes, they'll definitely take the series home. We're going to wrap it up here in now the 4th game, potentially match point here for Ohio State. Let's see how Northwood responds to this.
Yeah, we will have to see how this one comes forward for both of these squads here. Put another 5 minutes on the clock and run it back. We'll have to see exactly what comes through for both of these squads. Again, going to be largely talked a lot about it tonight. About minimizing these mistakes, about trying to find those openings in your opponents when they do happen to have those mistakes. But right now, looks like Ohio State going a little bit more on the offensive. Poke trying to get a little fancy with it. Loom coming out of the net here. And actually, it's Garrett able to sweep that one away with the save.
It looks like it's a little bit on the back foot here for OSU. And Poke's just trying to get a save. Loom collides with them in the air, but let's see if Ohio State counters. No. Both sides going back and forth right now. Not really too much to split these sides in the first minute of the game, but it looks like Plitzel tries to get a shot off. Good block from Queeds.
Well done here on the scramble back to defense from Ohio State. Now looking a little bit more on the offensive, or Plitzel is able to save that just before getting demoed as Queeds is looking to keep up the pressure for the Buckeyes here on the goal line of North.
It's looking really close right now. Both sides just trying to attack and really show that they want to take this series. It's looking really competitive right now. Poke coming off the ceiling here. Let's see what he can do. Just tries to flip into that.
Flipping into the corner here. Queeds trying to pop this up, and Diesel now looking off the backboard for Queeds. Not able to find that one either. Ball going to go right over Poke's head. Is now looking for this transition. Now the transition back the other direction as Diesel runs out of boost to try to get something done. And that's one of the things here, right? Is that you're really going to have to start getting your teammates involved. I feel like we're not seeing a lot of that here so far. There's been a lot of solo plays back and forth where one of these members wants to take it for themselves, but really going to have to start getting your teammates involved because the boost tank of 2 cars is larger than the boost tank of 1 car. That's some quick math for you there, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looks like a lot more demos than I've seen all night. It's looking really aggressive from both sides. Maybe both sides are a little hangry right now. I'm not really too sure about it, but looks like Poke's coming up here trying to get an attack here. Just demo after demo. Feels like my ears are exploding right now, but yeah, I mean, oh, nice little deflection there. Garrett's just gonna maybe trying to hit this forward, and it's like nothing there from Northwood attack.
Couldn't quite seem to find it there, but we'll have to see how this is going to progress here. Overall, 2 minutes left in the game, still scoreless between these two squads. It could even mean first goal could be the winning goal of this game. So could be very critical here. Of course, Northwood doesn't want to give away that. Ohio State certainly doesn't want to either. Of course, as I say that, Garrett's going to be able to find this one on that connection from Reptizzle on the other side of the map. Well done here to Northwood, and just awkward to get that drop. Really try to read that if you are on the Ohio State defensive side.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great pass and a great shot there from Northwood. I mean, I don't think we've really been seeing that all night, unfortunately, from them. You know, we've seen that a lot from Ohio State that maybe has resulted in some goals or maybe hasn't, but Northwood's able to showcase that they do have the technical ability and they do want to win this series. But obviously coming in with a minute and a half left, like you said, with no goals, it's been going back and forth. That could be the only goal that could maybe win them the game, but let's see how Ohio State responds to maybe try and bring this back.
Ohio State's certainly going to be looking for something here on this possession. Could potentially have gone a little bit more to their favor, but actually looks like transition back to their side of the net. Loom going to try to put one on target, but that's going to get sent back to the other side of the pitch. And now Northwood going to have to reset on their next offensive play.
Hits it right over Loom there. Looks like there's just one defender back. If maybe they can bring the pressure, they might be able to score. Northwood does a really good job just trying to defend that there.
Looking for a little more here as well, as Northwood's trying to get a little bit fancy with this one. Diesel going to be able to send this one away for now, right on to his own hood, now flicking that back towards the back wall. But 30 seconds left to go here for Ohio State to try to make a response, and is going to be able to find it there.
Wow.
Right between some of the defenders, and able to put that one back, equalizing the game right at that 30-second mark for the Buckeyes.
Really crucial hit there from Poke. I mean, I'm not really too sure if Reputzel would have got that either way, but it was a very safe option. It was a very necessary option to get that bump off, and now it is tied 1-1 now with 30 seconds left. And you know, that last little play there, I think Queeds and one of the Northwood players, you know, they had to follow rule number 2, as they say. You know, if you get stuck in each other's cars, you know, you just got to hold it there until maybe the play ends or a goal is scored. And you know, either way, that little bit of awkwardness has certainly resulted in a goal for Ohio State, so they'll definitely be thankful for that.
Or is that rule 1? But no, we're not getting into that argument tonight. 1 second mark is reached here, 1-1 in goals. Garrett's looking to try to keep this one up in the air, and I think both teams actually might want to keep this up in the air. Diesel trying to send this one back the other direction, but can't quite seem to find a teammate. And that means we're going to overtime in game 4.
Right here, this is very crucial. The next goal for Ohio State means a win in the series. The next goal from Northwood means a tied series. So this is a very crucial goal, and it looks like Northwood is able to tie the series. We are now going to go into the 5th game, but really amazing passing play here from Northwood, and just able to slot this in right past Poke. I mean, what fantastic team play effort there to bring the series back to a tie.
Yeah, well done strike there. Coming in for those members of Northwood. And at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones to go ahead and take that series. Very low scoring game overall. And going to be interesting to see, how this game 5 starts to go. We're talking about nerves. Now the nerves are on both teams as we are in that final 5 minutes of regulation play in game 5. So, hopefully neither one of these teams really going to crack under that pressure.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about before the last game here, Northwood might have felt a little bit deflated, but I think they did an excellent job, right, coming back and being able to bring the series back up to 2-2. And now Ohio State's probably going to feel a little bit worried, I'd say, a little bit more so than Northwood. I think Northwood's going to have a little bit more confidence, but Ohio State's just going to have to turn that, you're going to have to turn that frown upside down. They're going to have to try and make some changes here. And they're gonna have to score a lot more goals because Northwood can also score, and at the end of the day, it's who scores more goals, right?
I mean, hey, that's what I said earlier. A lot of these games are very simple. It's either, in Rocket League here, it's who can score more goals at the end of 5 minutes. In League of Legends, it's who can destroy the crystal in the opponent's base. A lot of these very simply boiled down, but of course, how you get there is exactly where the fun comes out of these games. Put another 5 minutes on the clock. It's game 5 between Ohio State and Northwood White.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see maybe if they change a little bit of their stuff, they play a little bit more shaky, maybe don't go for as much team play, or maybe just try and go a little bit more individualistic. We'll have to see here how both teams respond to this now tied series.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's going to be about trying to minimize the impact of those nerves. It's really going to be all about that here for both of these squads. And you got to imagine, a lot of these members on Ohio State have been playing competitive Rocket League at collegiate level for a little while. I think at least in their second year of play here in most cases. So really going to be interesting to watch them come together. Hopefully they'll be able to rely a little bit more on that experience as they're looking ahead in this game. But already a minute killed off of the clock. Time is ticking.
Yeah, time is really flying by here. Both sides just really trying to get a goal. Looks like it's a little bit awkward for Northway, but both sides doing a really good job just trying to get the ball right where they need it to be in order to get a nice pass play and a nice shot, but both sides are doing really good defensively.
Yeah, and there you see another one is Retizzle is just going to go ahead and send it back away to the other side of the pitch here. Looks like Queeds can't quite seem to make the connection on the passing play there for the Buckeyes. Now going through and rotating in front of that goal line, trying to open things up for a teammate to come on in. It's going to be Diesel trying to make the first aggressive play for the Buckeyes, but that one's not going to come in. And again, yet another minute killed off of the clock as time continues to tick here. And that's one of the things when you get in these shutout situations, it's amazing how quick some of this time starts to blow by. And for every second that passes, those nerves are going to go even more on edge for these two squads.
Yeah, last game we saw a lot of demos in a really, small amount of time. And we've been seeing those demos a little bit more now come out this game. They really haven't been introduced in any of the previous series of games, and it looks like now players are just trying to get some players, or get some numbers up and have a little bit of an advantage because both sides are good offensively and defensively, and they're maybe trying to get an advantage, not necessarily technically, but with just cars out on the field.
And I think the other thing we're noticing here is that we're starting to see a little bit more fast reaction times that are coming out here of these two squads. Very nice save away by Diesel on that last shot. That one could have been in. Loom looking for something here, trying to go down, but that one's not going to be on target here as well. Coming in from Reptiz. So again, 2 minutes now left to go in this game. This is it for the series, folks. I mean, I suppose we can go to overtime here, but we are running out of time for the rest of this match to come on together. And someone's going to have to try to put one on target. Pope going to be trying to follow this up for the Buckeyes here as well, but not quite going to be able to do just that. And so now, again, Queens in the air, low boost. Probably not going to be able to do a ton here other than send it off of the backboard. And so, yeah, I mean, we're really just looking here. Ohio State on the prowl for this one. but just has not quite been able to find a hole in the Northwood defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And, every now and then it seems like Ohio State's getting really, really close to getting an opportunity. It's making me quiver in my dorm room chair right here. I mean, it's getting really, really close. I mean, we're coming down to the last minute here. It is anyone's game, and we're coming down to the final minute. Potentially overtime in the midst, but hopefully we will see some action here. It's getting really close, back and forth. A lot of big hits, a lot of big commits. It's anyone's game right now. And here comes a demo here from Diesel. Let's see how Ohio State respond. Poke just trying to hit it up against the backboard.
Looking off the backboard, looking for a teammate, but not able to find it there. It looks like, though, Ohio State largely going to be in possession of the ball, more or less. I say that. Garrett could have tried to find this one out of the corner, and actually able to score that one is Reptiz, putting Northwood on the board. Again, just 32 seconds remain here, and right place, right time. The Queens just couldn't quite get there fast.
Yeah, unfortunately, and Ohio State right now have 32 seconds left to try and bring this series back completely. Not just a game, but the series as a whole. And it might leave them a little bit shaking, but Diesel just trying to go for a follow-up here. Queeds gets a hit. Poke tries to follow up, and it's very close there. Still a really close game. 15 seconds now. It's looking a little bit shaky, but we'll see how they respond here at the last seconds remaining.
Shaky. Northwood trying to keep the offensive pressure up, but now off of Quee's hood. Garrett going to try to just shove Queez away from the ball, making sure that Ohio State player cannot touch this thing. And now all it needs for Northwood victory is for this ball to hit the ground. There's going to be one going up in the air, but Queez going to try to keep this up as well. Get it out of reach of Loom, but right in front of the blue goal is not where that ball wants to be. It's going to hit the ground, and the Timberwolves are going to take this game as well.
Yeah, I'd say what a fantastic turnaround. Fair play to Northwood, obviously. I mean, they were down 2-1 the series, and they now brought it to a 3-2 win, which, makes them take the win for the series. And, I think right there, like the last two games for Ohio State, I think they could have maybe tried to clean up a little bit more of their mistakes. This is what we wanted, and unfortunately, I think Northwood was able to capitalize on that completely in the last two games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know that so much it was about fully cleaning up mistakes. I think they just couldn't quite find, exactly what they were looking for on offense. Weren't quite as quick to the ball maybe as they would have liked. Couldn't quite find the exact shots on target that they might have liked. Or perhaps there was a little bit of miscommunication in some of those offensive rotations. But I don't think there were any, really direct mistakes per se that they had to clean up a ton of there, especially in that game 5. I mean, it was only decided by one goal, right? There at the very end. So very well could have gone either way, and it just happens to go to the favor of the Timberwolves tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think both sides were really, really competitive and really good teams. I mean, they both showcased offensive and defensive, prowess. And to be fair, I'm really proud of our Ohio State team actually for fighting there. But unfortunately, it just led to Northwood, and they played a very good game as well. But overall, I mean, still very exciting Rocket League here. I mean, those games sometimes came down to the wire, and like we just said, or like you just said, last 32 seconds there, they were able to scrap up a goal and be able to take the series home, and it was just down to the last minute of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So unfortunate stuff there for the Ohio State squad, but still 2 more weeks of play left. They're sitting at 5-5 now. Of course, plenty of time to get themselves into a winning record. But I believe that's going to do it for us tonight on the Ohio State Esports channel. Hopefully we'll have a few more matches coming your way over the course of this weekend. And of course, we'll have another Play Versus week next week. Be sure to stay tuned for further updates on the Ohio State Esports Twitter. You can follow us at Ohio State Esports there as well. But for all of us here behind the scenes and in front of your face, my name is Kenneth. I've been joined by Rylan, and we appreciate you all coming out and joining us for the matches tonight. And we hope to see you around for more Buckeye Esports action next time. Take care, everybody.
See you, everyone.